Hi, welcome to Adventurers Dispatch. I'm Steven, and I've been away for a couple weeks at a couple LARPs, more on those in some upcoming videos, but today I wanted to talk about some LARPs that are open or are opening soon for registration. Now, if you don't know what a LARP is, there's a really good video that I did a couple months ago that I'll leave a link to at the end of this video. But in the meantime, let's look at some of the more exciting LARPs opening up for signups in the near future, or that are open now. Let's start on the West Coast with Twin Mask, because if you've been looking for a large ongoing fantasy campaign that you can actually join, this one is worth knowing about. Twin Mask describes itself as the largest LARP experience on the West Coast, with a persistent dark fantasy world called Outbound, and more than 500 players participating in their campaign. Their next scheduled event is September 18th through the 20th at SC Village in Corona, California, and registration is available. The game itself is high immersion dark fantasy with buffer combat and a persistent storyline where what the players do can affect the continuing world. And because this is a campaign rather than a one-and-done event, September isn't your only opportunity. Twin Mask also currently lists additional events in November and December. So if you're in Southern California or you've been looking for a large American campaign LARP with a relatively inexpensive way for a new player to try it, Twin Mask currently has their doors open. 1996 from Archetype LARPs is a Nordic-style LARP about a New Age cult running January 29th through the 31st, 2027 in Airville, Pennsylvania. But January isn't the actual date that matters right now, because applications are open, but they're only staying open until August 23rd. So by the time you're watching this, you've got less than a week to decide. Archetype describes 1996 as an intense game dealing with mature themes centered around the people caught up in a New Age movement, dare I say cult. So if darker, Nordic-style psychological LARP is your thing, don't put this one off. 1996 runs in January, but its application window closes August 23rd. That's a call to act now. If you're looking for an ongoing fantasy campaign rather than a one-off, here's another option. I wanted to throw this one in as a mention since its dates are quickly approaching and may just be for those in the area of the Northeast. Alliance LARP New Hampshire, produced by Dark Fae Entertainment, currently has a weekend scheduled for September 18th through the 20th in Ashby, Massachusetts. Yes, Alliance New Hampshire is playing in Ashby, Massachusetts. They've actually got another event coming up even sooner, August 21st through the 23rd in Unity, New Hampshire, but that's probably a little close for most of you watching to suddenly rearrange your lives. So I wanted to highlight the September dates. If you're in New England and you've been looking for a recurring fantasy campaign rather than a once-a-year destination event, Alliance New Hampshire is another currently active option worth putting on your radar. While we're in New England, there's one for those of you who want to sample a lot of different kinds of LARP in a single weekend. Intercon is coming to Warwick, Rhode Island in February 2027. Now, rather than one enormous LARP running throughout the weekend, this is an entire 4-day convention devoted to LARP, bringing together hundreds of players for a huge variety of individual games, along with panels, workshops, discussions, and social events. And variety really is the point here. Intercon has built its reputation around bringing together different genres, styles, writers, and approaches to LARP, which also makes it a particularly interesting option if you're relatively new to the hobby and want to experience several very different kinds of games all in one place. The next edition is Intercon Y, arriving in Warwick in February 2027. Convention tickets are currently available, but individual game signups traditionally happen later, so if you buy a ticket to the con now, watch out for those. So if spending 4 days surrounded by LARPs and LARPers sounds like your idea of a perfectly reasonably winter vacation, Intercon Y is already one you can start planning. Now heading north to Canada, Liberty is scheduled May 14th through the 17th, 2027, about an hour outside of Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Sign-up is currently open through September 1st. If you're fascinated by the Westworld-type experience that other LARPs have incorporated into their play, this may be one to look at. One notable difference between this and other LARPs is that it will be from the point of view of the hosts, or the androids, and all players will be cast as one of those. Since this is a new LARP, and so will probably be easier to access than other Westworld LARPs, if the Westworld theme excites a LARPer in you, then perhaps this may be the LARP for you. But don't look at that May 2027 date and assume you've got months to make the decision. You don't. The important date right now is September 1st. That's when their registrations close. Now for something that's about to open and we're pretty excited for. Outbound Hope Mission from Windfall Entertainment is returning in 2027 for 2 scheduled runs, May 13th through the 16th and May 20th through the 23rd in Bay City, Michigan. And the venue alone is going to get some people's attention, because Outbound Hope takes place aboard the USS Edson, a real decommissioned United States Navy destroyer. For the LARP, that ship becomes the Flame of Liberty, a spacecraft in Outbound Hope's science fiction setting. It's a multi-day science fiction LARP built around the crew aboard that vessel, with the organizers describing player decisions as affecting both the other characters and the ship itself. Registration is not open yet as of this dispatch, but it's very close. Returning players get early registration beginning August 24th, and general registration begins August 31st. So this is your warning before the starting gun. If spending several days role-playing the crew of a science fiction vessel while physically playing aboard an actual naval ship sounds like something you'd travel for, put August 31st on your calendar. Outbound Hope is coming back, and registration is almost here. Here's one for the way forward planning calendar, because we're going all the way to August of 2027. Valour Manor Run 3, produced by Omenstar, runs August 19th through the 22nd, 2027 in Staffordshire, England. And tickets are available right now. Valour Manor is a modern-day superhero LARP set at a training academy for superpowered people. In the world of the game, Valour Manor has been training Britain's superheroes for centuries, preparing them for careers in government, the military, private industry, and potentially a place on Britain's national superhero team, the Brigade. But this simply isn't superhero wish fulfillment. The setting takes a satirical look at the institutions surrounding superheroes, with students developing not only their powers, but their public personas and their place inside the system that's training them. And the venue certainly fits the assignment. The game takes place in a historic manor in Staffordshire that becomes Valour Manor itself. And even though the event is a full year away, tickets are selling now. Staying in Britain and in Staffordshire, actually, here's a game I don't think we've talked about before, but is quickly approaching. It's called Against the Verdant, Smoke on the Water, and it runs September 18th through the 20th at Huntley Wood in Staffordshire. The organizers describe Against the Verdant as a small contemporary high fantasy LARP with a pre-apocalyptic setting, drawing in elements of Arthurian legend and the Fae. Ticket registration is currently live, and this isn't an enormous 1,000-player blockbuster game we sometimes cover. This is a smaller game, and it's part of why I wanted to put it on your radar. If contemporary fantasy, Arthurian mythology, and a world approaching some kind of supernatural catastrophe sounds like your particular flavor of weird, Against the Verdant currently has registration open, but it starts next month, so you better look into it quickly. Krystalium, the Winter Waltz, running January 29th through the 31st, 2027 at a castle near Puck, Poland, is an English language LARP for roughly 40 to 60 players. It's set at the winter residence of the Iron Tsar in LarpVenture's original Krystalium universe. The genre here is political drama and court intrigue wrapped in glitz and glamour of an early 19th century imperial aesthetic. But underneath all of that elegance, LarpVenture says the essential themes are power and obsession, with decadence, corruption, betrayal, desire, and blackmail sitting just beneath the courtly surface. So if your preferred LARP ingredients include a castle, gorgeous costumes, political maneuvering, and terrible people making questionable decisions at an imperial winter court, well, the Winter Waltz is currently bookable for January 2027. LarpVenture is also producing Frostpunk, The Last Recon, which returns to Nysa, Poland, February 4th through the 7th, 2027. And yes, this is a LARP set in the world of Frostpunk. LarpVenture describes The Last Recon as a psychological survivor horror LARP, which should immediately tell you that this isn't simply an excuse to put on an enormous, fabulous-looking coat and stand around looking cold. The game follows the Prometheus expedition, with survivors caught between the demands of survival, ideology, and a catastrophic winter. And tickets for the February international run are currently available. So the time to secure a place is happening now. If you've been waiting for another international run of The Last Recon, it's officially back on the board. And now we get to the name that's probably going to make a few Witcher fans sit up very quickly. Kaer Morhen returns for an international run March 18th through the 21st, 2027, and tickets are available through LarpVenture. The premise is pretty much a sentence Witcher fans have wanted to hear since they first discovered LARP. You arrive at Kaer Morhen as an adept and train to become a Witcher. This is an English-language international run set before the events surrounding Geralt of Rivia during the earlier period in the history of the Witcher world. Players experience the Witcher stronghold, training, moral dilemmas, monsters, and the trials associated with becoming a Witcher. And March 2027 may sound comfortably far away, but that's exactly why I'm telling you about it now. Destination LARPs require flights, costumes, vacation time, and money. Finding out about one after everybody else has already booked it isn't particularly useful news. So if training at Kaer Morhen has been sitting somewhere on your LARP bucket list, March 18th through the 21st, 2027, but tickets are available now. And now another LARP set in the Krystalium universe from LarpVenture. Krystalium Seed of Revolution doesn't happen until November 18th through the 21st, 2027 in Turin, Poland. But yes, you can already buy your ticket. Seed of Revolution is the opening chapter in an epic LARP trilogy set in LarpVenture's original Krystalium universe, a low fantasy, war-torn world with a 19th and early 20th century military aesthetic and a distinctly Slavic influence. The organizers describe this chapter as a story about revolution against the rule of the Iron Tsar, with the larger trilogy designed so that the player choices can change the world as the story progresses. It's an English-language international run for 40 to 70 players. The game takes place inside an actual 19th century Prussian fort. Different accommodations and installment payments are available. Since you can book it now, start planning. Now we're going to a magical university in Tuscany. Arcaniversitas and the Black Sphinx, produced by Eriados, has an English-language international run scheduled for March 19th through the 21st, 2027 at Garganza Castle in Tuscany, Italy, and registration is currently available. This is a blockbuster magical university LARP set in Eriados' original Arcaniverse. You'll play students, professors, mages, and other members of its magical society with classes, secrets, relationships, magical duels, and a grand ball taking place across the medieval setting. Eriados describes the approach to play as play to feel, play to lose, and play to lift, rather than competitive play. It includes 2 nights at Garganza Castle, breakfasts, 4 meals, the LARP, and photo and video coverage. The English run happens in March, but registration is open right now and available places are limited. So if you've ever wanted to go to a magical university, apparently Tuscany is accepting applications. Registration is now open for Glitz from NotOnlyLarp, and it's currently scheduled for May 8th through the 10th, 2027 in Guadalajara, Spain. The important part for today's dispatch is simple. Registration is open. Based on the Netflix show, this is a comedy LARP about the origins of female wrestling in 1980 Los Angeles, but it's also a story about the people around them, trying to make sure the spectacle goes off without a hitch, while addressing the changing views of feminism during the time period. Again, this LARP is scheduled for May 2027, but registration is open now. Okay, that was a lot of LARP. So forget everything except the calendar for a minute. Here's what actually needs your attention. 1996 in Pennsylvania. Applications for that close August 23rd. Opening imminently. Outbound Hope in Michigan. Returning player registration opens August 24th. General registration opens August 31st. And Open Now North America, Twin Mask in California, which is on September 18th through the 20th. And Alliance New Hampshire in Massachusetts, September 18th through the 20th. Pre-registration is active. Then there's Intercon Y, Rhode Island, February 2027. Convention registration is available with individual LARP selection coming later. And there's Liberty in Canada, May 14th through the 17th, 2027. Sign-ups close September 1st, 2026. Now, opening in Europe. Against the Verdant, United Kingdom, the Winter Waltz, Frostpunk, the Last Recon, and Kaer Morhen. All of these in Poland, and all of them have tickets available now. Then there's Arcaniversitas and the Black Sphinx in Italy, and Glitz in Spain. Finally, 2 events we're looking forward way ahead, but you can already secure your place. There's Valour Manor Run 3 in the United Kingdom. That's the Superhero Academy LARP. And Krystalium Seeds of Revolution in Poland, November 18th through the 21st, 2027. Here we're talking about 2 LARPs happening more than a year from now, and you can already book them. That, oddly enough, may be the best example of why I'm doing this newsy kind of show in the first place. Because sometimes forward planning doesn't mean remember this for next year, sometimes it means next year is already on sale. And here's the thing. LARP has a discovery problem. There are incredible games happening all over the world, but there isn't one place where all of them announce themselves. And sometimes by the time an event crosses your particular corner of the internet, well, the applications are closed. The tickets are gone. Or somebody is posting photographs from the LARP you absolutely would have loved to have gone to, had you known it existed. That's why I hope I'm helping a little bit with presenting another showcase for these amazing events we all should know about before they happen. But I'm also going to start spending more time asking what's already out there that I haven't discovered yet. Because if there's an extraordinary LARP happening in 2027 where registration is opened and places are still available, and I haven't mentioned it, well, that's news. And I'd much rather tell you about your dream LARP 6 months too early than 6 days too late. So if you know about a LARP that's currently accepting players, particularly something unusual, international, experimental, or just criminally under the radar, send it my way. Please, I'd really like to know. And then I'll get it out to you guys. So hopefully we'll discover a few more stories before they're already over. Until next time, onward into your story.